There's a silent killer of dreams walking among us. It doesn't come with flashing lights. It doesn't announce its arrival with chaos or calamity. No, it moves quietly, softly, like fog slipping through the cracks of your ambition. It sits behind excuses. It hides inside hesitation. It dresses up as logic and calls itself realistic. But what it really is weakness, not the weakness of the body. No, this is the weakness of the mind. And when the mind is weak, even the strongest body can't save you. When the mind is weak, talent goes to waste. Potential rots in silence, and destiny is lost before it ever begins. The greatest battles you'll ever fight won't be in boardrooms or arenas or stages. They will be inside you. In the quiet moments when no one's watching, that's where the war is won or lost. And the battlefield is mindset. You see, every titan of success, from Carnegie to Oprah, from Edison to Elon, had to face down the same enemy you face now. Doubt, fear, distraction, comfort. They bled for their vision. They endured ridicule. They walked through rejection after rejection, but they kept going because their mindset didn't flinch. And if you truly want to rise, to build something that matters, to create a life worth remembering, then you must recognize the warning signs, the red flags that your mind is not yet your ally, but your greatest liability. Because before success begins, weakness must end. And so we begin. The first red flag of a weak mindset: blaming. Blaming others. Blaming circumstances. Blaming the past. You can't build an empire while pointing fingers. That's the language of victims. That's the soundtrack of mediocrity. Look at Lincoln, born into poverty, self-educated, failed in business, defeated in elections. He could have blamed the system. He could have blamed the times. But he chose responsibility. Every great leader does. Weak minds seek someone to fault. Strong minds seek something to change. Because when you blame, you surrender your power. You say, "I'm not in control." And that right there is the first step to failure. The moment you give away your responsibility is the moment you give away your ability to grow. Understand this. Life is not fair. It never has been. It never will be. But success was never promised to the fair. It was promised to the relentless. And that brings us to the second red flag: comfort addiction. The weak mind worships comfort. It chooses easy. It avoids pain. It trades growth for convenience and ambition for distraction. But here's the truth. No one ever became extraordinary by staying comfortable. Comfort is the sedative of potential. Look at Thomas Edison. 10,000 failed experiments. 10,000. Do you think comfort was on his mind when he was trying and failing and trying again? No. He understood what most never do. Greatness is forged in discomfort. Growth hurts. Discipline hurts. But regret hurts more. And so the question is, what are you willing to endure? Are you willing to be uncomfortable every day for the next decade, if it means building something the world can't ignore? Or will you settle for warm couches, empty calories, and dopamine-filled distractions? The weak mind says, "This is good enough." The strong mind says, "Not yet. Not until I've done what I came to do." The third red flag of a weak mindset: living in reaction, always responding, never creating. You wake up, check your phone, reacting to messages. You open your inbox, reacting to tasks. You scroll through social media, reacting to lives that aren't even yours. All day you're playing defense. But champions don't play defense all their lives. They dictate the game. They move with intention. Look at Walt Disney. Fired from a newspaper for lack of creativity. Lost his first animation studio to bankruptcy. But he didn't react to the world's opinions. He created a world of his own. He led. He imagined. He acted. If your life feels chaotic, scattered, out of control, it's because your mind has been trained to wait for instruction, not to issue it. Weak minds drift. Strong minds design. They wake up with clarity. They move with purpose. They know where they're going before the sun even rises. And that clarity only comes when you reclaim your day, when you stop reacting and start deciding. Which brings us to the fourth red flag: needing permission. This is one of the most subtle, most dangerous poisons of all. Waiting for someone to tell you it's your time. Waiting for validation, approval, applause. But the truth is, no one's coming. No one's going to knock on your door and say, "Hey, it's your moment. The world's ready for your greatness now." That's not how it works. Ford didn't wait for permission to invent mass production. Jobs didn't ask permission to put 1,000 songs in your pocket. These people moved before the world understood them. They walked alone until others followed. If you're still waiting for someone to tell you that you're ready, let this be the voice. You're ready. Now act like it. Weak minds wait. Strong minds declare. You must stop asking, "Am I allowed to be great?" and start saying, "I'm already on the path, with or without your permission." Because if you don't bet on yourself, no one else will. And finally, the fifth red flag, the one that kills more dreams than all the rest combined: short-term obsession. The weak mind needs results now. It needs recognition today. It needs the dopamine hit of fast progress, or else it quits. But real greatness, it's boring. It's repetitive. It's slow. It's years of doing what most won't, just to live 1 year like most can't. Success is not a lottery ticket. It's a long game. Think of Andrew Carnegie, who spent decades building his steel empire, not by chasing trends, but by planting deep roots. He understood compounding effort. He understood patience. But the weak mind is addicted to the now. It wants likes instead of legacy. It wants wins instead of wisdom. It wants shortcuts instead of substance. And so it burns out, gives up, or chases the next shiny thing, never realizing that the path to success was never complicated, just long. But the strong mind commits. It says, "This may take years. It may cost me sleep. It may cost me comfort. But I will not stop until the vision in my mind becomes the reality I live." That's power. That's discipline. That's mindset. And when you start to see those red flags in yourself, blaming, comfort-seeking, reactivity, needing permission, chasing the short term, you must treat them not as quirks or personality traits, but as threats. Because that's what they are. Threats to your potential. Threats to your legacy. Every moment you entertain them, you delay your evolution. And understand this: your mind will always try to protect you, even if it means imprisoning you. It whispers lies dressed as logic. It says, "Don't try too hard. Don't risk too much. What if you fail? What will people think?" But here's the truth. No one tells you. That voice is not your protector. It's your limiter. It's the echo of every doubt ever planted in you. It's the residue of fear passed down from the world, from teachers, friends, parents, society, all terrified of those who dare to dream bigger than the rules allow. But you were not born to stay small. You were born to challenge the cage, to tear down the walls of your own limitations, to look your inherited fears in the face and say, "I choose a new path." Because the difference between those who build legacies and those who barely get by is not talent, not luck, not intelligence. It's the ability to recognize weakness and then starve it. It's the strength to rewrite the script running through your mind. It's the courage to stop being a servant to your emotions and start being a commander of your direction. Think about every revolutionary who changed the world. They didn't wait for certainty. They didn't ask for ease. They didn't allow fear to set the pace. They felt doubt and moved anyway. They faced ridicule and kept building. They walked alone until others caught up. Because the power wasn't outside them. It was within them. It always is. That's the truth most never realize. You're not in a battle with the world. You're in a battle with the version of you that prefers average. And that version must die. Not someday. Not when it's convenient. Now. Because every day you delay is a day deeper in the trance of mediocrity. And listen, this isn't about being perfect. It's not about eliminating fear or never falling into comfort again. It's about awareness. It's about discipline. It's about choosing strength over ease, purpose over distraction, ownership over excuses, again and again, until it becomes who you are. It's about making your mind your ally, not your enemy. Because the mind is a mirror. It reflects back what you feed it. Feed it excuses, and it will breed avoidance. Feed it discipline, and it will become your engine. Feed it vision, and it will bend reality around it. That's not philosophy. That's physics of the human will. The greatest transformations in history didn't come from gifted people. They came from obsessed people. People who were so driven by a vision, they refused to accept anything less. People who burned their bridges so thoroughly, they had no option but forward. And that is the standard. If you want to escape the gravitational pull of average, you must outwork it. If you want to silence the noise of doubt, you must overpower it with action. If you want to build something the world remembers, you must first become someone the world can't ignore. And that begins with the mind, not the body, not the resume, not the followers, or the resources, or the luck. The mind. A mind so resilient, no failure can break it. A mind so focused, no distraction can touch it. A mind so grounded in purpose, no external storm can shake it. And how do you build that mind? You build it like a warrior builds calluses, by confronting discomfort every single day. You build it like a craftsman sharpens his blade, by cutting away weakness with the edge of discipline. You build it like an artist sculpts marble, not in grand gestures, but in thousands of daily strikes, strike after strike, choice after choice, until one day the mind that once doubted you becomes the mind that leads you, until one day your name becomes the evidence that it's possible. You see, there are two lives available to you, two futures, one where you remain chained to the habits of a weak mindset, forever reacting, doubting, blaming, waiting, a life of almost, of could have, of maybe one day, and the other is a life where you burn the map and follow the fire, where you trade validation for self-mastery, where you stop flinching, stop stalling, stop asking for guarantees, and instead, move, speak, build, lead. That life, that second life, is only unlocked when you kill the weak mind, and in its place, forge a mind that bows to no one, not even your fears. You want to know the secret? Here it is. There is no hack. There is no trick. There is no shortcut. The transformation begins when you stop treating your comfort like a right and start treating your potential like a duty. It begins when you say, no more red flags, no more blaming, no more drifting, no more permission slips, no more quitting halfway through because it's hard. It begins when you realize your life is not a rehearsal. You don't get to come back and try again. And if you're going to spend it playing small, protecting your ego, waiting for the stars to align, then understand the world doesn't owe you success, but it will mirror your standard. So raise it. Now, raise your standard. So high it makes your former self uncomfortable. Set a vision so massive that your excuses no longer fit inside it. Speak to yourself like someone who is becoming the very person the world will study one day. Because you're not here to blend in. You're here to break through. Understand this. You don't get what you want in life. You get what you are. You attract what you embody. And if you're carrying a weak mindset, full of hesitation, wrapped in fear, obsessed with quick results, then life will give you exactly that: small results, temporary victories, shallow wins that vanish with the first storm. But if you stand tall, even trembling, and commit to strength in the face of everything trying to pull you back, the universe takes notice. Not because it's magical, but because energy follows intention, because your mind becomes a magnet for the opportunities aligned with your boldness, not your comfort, your boldness. That's why you must examine the roots, not just the leaves, not just the visible problems on the surface. You must dig. You must ask, where is the weakness hiding? Is it in the story I keep repeating about my limits? Is it in the fear of judgment that silences my ideas? Is it in the need for constant reassurance, for someone else to tell me I'm good enough? Because until you face those roots, you'll keep pruning symptoms instead of pulling the disease. Weakness thrives in silence. It thrives when we don't name it, when we pretend it's not there. But strength begins with truth, brutal, unfiltered truth. The strongest minds are not the most perfect. They are the most honest. Honest enough to say, I've been playing small. I've been running from the hard things. I've been sabotaging my potential with my own thoughts. And once you name it, once you drag it out of the dark and into the light, it starts to lose power, because weakness feeds on denial, and truth is the fire that burns it to ash. So ask yourself right now, with ruthless honesty. Where have I been blaming instead of owning? Where have I been choosing comfort instead of growth? Where have I been reacting instead of creating? Where have I been waiting for permission instead of giving myself command? Where have I been chasing fast results instead of committing to the long game? Because that is your map. That is the starting line of transformation. And let me tell you something about this journey. It's not glamorous. It's not Instagrammable. It's not viral or sexy or fast. It's hard. It's lonely. It's repetitive. It's days when you feel like nothing is working, but you keep showing up anyway. That's the difference. Not who has the best ideas, or the best timing, or the best connections, but who can stay locked in when everything says quit. Who can hold the vision so tight that even failure can't pry it from their hands. Look at every giant who ever walked this earth. Their story has the same chapter. The moment when it looked impossible, when the world said no, when nothing made sense except the fire inside them. That's where you are now, and that's good, because that means you're on the edge of becoming. Becoming isn't clean. It's not polished. It's a process of burning down who you were, so you can rise as who you were always meant to be. But you don't get both. You can't keep your excuses and your excellence. You can't keep your comfort and your calling. You can't keep your red flags and your revolution. So make the trade. Burn the scripts that say you're not enough. Break the mirrors that only reflect your doubt. Cut the cords to anything or anyone that keeps you tethered to weakness. This is your moment to declare war on the part of you that's been surviving, and replace it with the part of you that's ready to thrive. No more looking outside for answers. No more waiting for motivation. No more treating discipline like punishment. Because discipline is freedom. Clarity is power. Vision is your compass. And your mindset, that is the soil from which every result grows. Tend to it daily. Protect it like your life depends on it. Because it does. And when you feel yourself slipping, when the red flags creep in like shadows, catch them, replace them, rewrite them in real time. When you want to blame, choose ownership. When you crave comfort, choose purpose. When you want to react, choose to create. When you seek permission, choose self-trust. When you chase the short win, choose the long war. That's how warriors are built. One decision at a time, one day at a time, one breath of courage at a time. Because the truth is this: weakness doesn't go away. It waits, it whispers, it tempts. But if you rise daily with intention, if you choose strength when no one's watching, if you wake up not to survive, but to dominate, then weakness becomes just a voice in the crowd, powerless, irrelevant. And you become unstoppable. Not because you were born different, but because you chose different. Because you looked at the flags and said, not in my mind, not in my life, not anymore. And from this moment forward, you walk differently. You carry yourself like someone who has seen the edge and stepped into the fire without flinching. You don't lower your eyes when you speak. You don't shrink when the room goes quiet. Because you know who you are, and more importantly, you know who you're becoming. You're not here to repeat history. You're here to make it. You're not here to borrow belief. You're here to build it. And every time you resist the pull of your former self, the version ruled by fear, by doubt, by weakness, you reinforce your transformation. You lay another brick in the foundation of your unshakable mind. Because power isn't loud, it's consistent. It's the quiet decision to train while others sleep. It's the discipline to focus while others scroll. It's the refusal to break when failure strikes. Not once, not twice, but again and again. The weak mind says, maybe this isn't meant for me. The strong mind says, watch me turn this into fuel. Let others flinch. Let others crumble. Let others chase comfort and call it success. You came to rise, and rise you will. Because now you see the truth. Every red flag was never meant to shame you. It was meant to awaken you, to snap you out of the dream that said, play it safe, stay small, be realistic. Realistic? Was Walt Disney being realistic when he drew a mouse and saw an empire? Was Steve Jobs being realistic when he said the world would carry a computer in its pocket? Was Harriet Tubman being realistic when she led hundreds to freedom under threat of death? Realism is just another word for surrender if it's not tied to courage. And you weren't built to surrender. You were built to lead, to shape, to elevate. But leadership doesn't start with others. It starts inside. It starts the moment you look your demons in the face and say, "You will not win." It starts the moment you stop apologizing for your ambition. It starts when you take full responsibility, not just for your past, but for your future. And from that responsibility flows unstoppable force. Because now, your success is not optional. It's inevitable. Not because it will be easy, but because it will be non-negotiable. You will rise before the world does. You will practice when no one claps. You will create when no one sees. You will outlast the doubt, outwork the resistance, and outgrow the voices that told you you can't. Because you've made the shift. You're not the same. Not after this. You don't tolerate the red flags now. You hunt them. You don't fear your weak moments. You dominate them. You don't wait for motivation. You manufacture momentum. And here's what they won't tell you. It's lonely at first. This new standard you've chosen, most won't understand it. They'll mock your discipline. They'll question your hunger. They'll call your obsession too much. But what they really mean is you're reminding me of what I could be. Do not dim your fire to make them comfortable. You weren't born to walk quietly through life, hoping not to offend anyone with your greatness. You were born to set the world on fire with the example of what's possible. So let them misunderstand you. Let them underestimate you. Let them watch from a distance while you build what they said was impossible. Because soon, very soon, the results will speak louder than any explanation ever could. That's the promise. Not that it will be easy, but that it will be worth it. Because every morning you wake up and choose strength over softness, clarity over chaos, direction over distraction. You step closer to the life that was waiting for you all along. Not the life handed to you. Not the one suggested by society, but the one designed by vision, by obsession, by the kind of mindset that leaves no room for weakness. So remember this when the days get long and the rewards feel far away. You're not lost. You're not behind. You're building, brick by brick, thought by thought, decision by decision. You are becoming a force the world can't ignore. And that force, that fire, it doesn't arrive fully formed. It's forged in pressure, in struggle, in relentless pursuit. So chase the red flags. Because now you don't fear them. You thank them. They showed you where your growth begins. They marked the boundary between who you were and who you're about to become. And every step you take beyond that boundary is a declaration that your mindset is no longer your weakness. It is your weapon. It is your empire. It is the reason the next time someone asks, "What changed?" you'll smile, because you'll know everything. Everything changed. Not because the world shifted, but because you did. You stopped waiting for miracles and became one. You stopped seeking easy answers and started crafting powerful questions. You stopped asking the world to be lighter and instead made yourself stronger, because that's the truth no one tells you. The world doesn't owe you peace. It doesn't owe you clarity. It doesn't owe you balance. It simply offers resistance and dares you to rise, and rise you did. You rose from the old patterns that held you back. You rose from the voice in your head that whispered, "You're not ready." You rose from the chains of mediocrity, broken by your own hands, with the strength of your own will. That's the turning point. The moment you stop being managed by your emotions and start managing your focus. The moment you stop waiting to feel ready and start acting because it's necessary. The moment you stop fearing pain and start embracing it as the currency of greatness. Pain is not the enemy. It is the invitation. Every stumble, a lesson. Every loss, a sharpening. Every delay, a test of how bad you really want it. The weak mind interprets these things as rejection. The strong mind sees them for what they are. Initiation. Because this path isn't for the crowd. It's not for the ones who want applause more than progress. It's for the builders, the silent warriors, the ones who understand that power is earned in private, long before it's revealed in public. And now, Now you are among them. You've felt the fire. You've answered the call, and there is no going back. You don't think the same. You don't move the same. You don't dream in half measures anymore. You are no longer seduced by the easy path, because you've seen what's waiting on the other side of hard, and that taste of possibility. That's what fuels you now, not comparison, not validation, not external trophies, but the quiet knowing that you are walking in alignment, that your thoughts, your actions, your standards finally match the future you claim to want. This is what happens when the weak mind dies. The victim inside you, gone. The imposter who needed permission, gone. The procrastinator, the blamer, the shortcut seeker, all gone. And in their place stands a new version of you, forged in clarity, powered by discipline, driven by an unshakable sense of why. That why. It's not just a slogan. It's your anchor when everything else falls apart. It's what makes you indestructible when the storm hits, because it will hit. The path of greatness guarantees pain. It guarantees failure. It guarantees sacrifice. But it also guarantees transformation. If you stay in the fire long enough to let it do its work. This is not about motivation anymore. Motivation is fleeting. This is about identity. This is about becoming the kind of person who does not quit, not because it's inspiring, but because quitting is no longer even an option in your mind. This is about becoming the kind of person who leads themselves, even in the dark, especially in the dark, because light is easy, noise is easy, hype is easy, but mastery is silent. Mastery is earned in invisible moments, when no one's clapping, when no one's watching, when no one even believes in you but you, and yet you show up anyway. You show up broken, you show up doubting, you show up tired, uninspired, and unsure, but you still show up, and that is power. That is the reprogramming of your very DNA. That is how legacies are built. Not in one big win, but in 1,000 small refusals to break. Because when you've built a strong mind, you don't chase success. You attract it. You don't chase opportunity. You command it. You don't chase discipline. You become it. And now, finally, the world begins to shift around you. Because the strongest magnet in the universe is conviction. Conviction in your vision. Conviction in your mission. Conviction that what you are building, day by day, rep by rep, choice by choice, will echo far beyond you. Because this isn't about you anymore. It's about the people who will one day whisper your name in rooms you've never entered. It's about the lives you'll impact by the example you set. It's about your children, your legacy. The people watching silently from the shadows, wondering if they too are allowed to rise. You are the proof. You are the signal. You are the one who faced down the red flags of a weak mind and emerged as something else entirely, unshakable, relentless, unstoppable, unstoppable. That's what you are now, not because the path got easier, but because your mind got harder, sharper, cleaner, uncluttered by the doubts that once ruled you, unchained from the illusions that told you to wait, to shrink, to hide. You don't hide anymore, because hiding is for those who fear their own potential. And you've seen what you're capable of when you stop negotiating with weakness, when you stop playing life like it's some rehearsal for a moment that may never come. This is the moment. This is the breath. This is the life you're building right now, with every decision, every step, every refusal to give up. So listen closely. You want to win? Then kill the weakness before it kills your purpose. You want to leave a mark? Then erase the lies etched into your thinking. The ones that say you're not ready, not qualified, not chosen. You are chosen. But not by the world, by yourself. You chose this. You chose the pain, the discipline, the solitude, the fight. And now you stand where most never reach, in the arena, bloodied but unbowed, tested but not tamed. Because that's what the strong mind does. It doesn't ask for ease. It asks for fire, and then walks straight through it. It doesn't seek praise. It seeks truth, even if that truth burns. It doesn't bend at the first sign of resistance. It grows sharper. It grows louder. It grows more certain. You are not here to survive this world. You are here to shape it. To build with your bare hands what they said could not be built. To rise from the trenches of your former self and say, "This is who I am now. This is who I was meant to be all along." Let them doubt you. Let them misunderstand you. Let them whisper about the way you move. Because when your mindset becomes your weapon, you no longer need to explain your path. You walk it, you own it, and you let the results speak, and they will. Because a strong mind cannot be hidden for long. It radiates in your posture. It echoes in your decisions. It hums in your silence. It doesn't need to shout, because it is undeniable. So if you've heard nothing else, hear this. Success doesn't start with a dream. It starts with a decision. A decision to kill the habits that weaken you, to end the thought loops that sabotage you, to dismantle the patterns that make you flinch when you should rise. It starts when you stop tolerating anything that insults your potential. This is not motivation. This is a mirror. Look in it. See the red flags, not as failures, but as invitations to evolve, and then answer them. With strength, with conviction, with the roar of someone who has decided that average will never be enough again. This is your declaration, that from this moment forward your mind is no longer your cage. It is your cathedral, your forge, your kingdom, and you are its architect. So build it with intention, build it with grit, build it with fire, because the world doesn't need more noise. It needs more minds like yours, unshakable, relentless, unstoppable.